Dragons Rising Season 4 Part 1 is officially out. It did not end clean at all, and left a ton of unanswered things that are actually pretty important going forward. There is a lot going on here, with the ninja finally back together, Lloyd unlocking his true potential as Green Ninja, and multiple cliffhangers all happening at the same time. Most things are really important for Part 2. By the end of Part 1, everyone is finally back together at the monastery with no more separations. It's the full ninja team again, which already feels very different compared to how the season started. Jay is also back, at least for a part, with some of his memories returning, but not all of them, and that is going to be its own storyline later on. He's still not really himself yet. Since he got his memories back, it can also be part of his shattered soul. The main thing here is Lloyd, because him unlocking Dragonus form changes everything, not just for him, but for the whole team, since he's the reason the ninja have their power back, and that brings up a big question about whether everything depends on Lloyd again. We have seen before that if Lloyd loses his power, then the rest of the ninja lose theirs too, and now it really feels like we might be going back to that, except this time it feels way more important. Lloyd's powers also changed after the ritual. It looks like a constant dragon boost that never ends, so like a powered up version of life. This is one of the weirdest parts of Season 4 so far, because Lloyd gets this huge upgrade, but we do not actually know how it works, why some ninja get them and others do not, and whether Lloyd has even reached his full potential yet, or if it's just another step. It also feels like there might be some kind of limit or problem to these powers, that we just have not seen yet, because Ninjago usually does not give this level of power without some kind of big problem later on. It really feels like Lloyd is acting as a source of everyone's power right now, even if the show has not directly said that. And if that's true, then that is both a big responsibility and a big problem, because if anything happens to him, then everything could fall apart again. Another thing worth mentioning is how quickly the ninja got their powers back, because it almost feels too easy compared to how big of a deal losing them was in the beginning, which could mean that this is not permanent, or that something could go wrong later, when they rely on it too much. It is also interesting that not every ninja seem to be using their powers in the exact same way yet, which could mean that these forms are still unstable or not fully mastered. Sora's parents also decided to show up at the monastery, and there is no way that this is random, even if it looks like at first. We already saw earlier in the episode that they were loyalists, which was pretty obvious, but what matters is what they are doing now, because there is no reason for them to just show up, like nothing happened. The show won't act like nothing happened or let them show up to Sora without a reason. So the most likely situation is that they are still involved in something bigger and still connected to the main threat, which leads into Imperium's storyline, because that is definitely not over. It might look like Imperium is safe now, but the most important detail is that the leader is still alive, not active or conscious right now, but still not gone, and that always matters. Another thing to think about is that Sora's parents might not just be following orders anymore, but could have their own plan now, which could make them even more dangerous than before. So there is a real chance that Sora's parents are still loyal and could be continuing that plan or even taking control of it themselves, which could lead to them trying to bring Sora back to their side. And that would actually be a really interesting conflict going into Part 2. On top of that, the weapon that got introduced feels like it has a bigger role, not just something for one moment, but something connected to anything darker. So it would not be surprising if that comes back later in a much bigger way, especially if it ties into older powers or something the ninja do not fully understand yet. Now the biggest cliffhanger from this ending, which is Lord Res, because even though he was barely in this part of the season, he still ends up being one of the most important parts of the final. When we see him again, something feels different right away, and the main reason is that he now has another dragon icon, which means he already has 3 dragon icons, and it is a serious problem, because every time he gets one of these he becomes more powerful, and now he is stacking them, which makes him way more dangerous. The design of this new icon being a bow has people thinking it could be connected to focus, which actually makes sense, because it fits with the precision and control, and connects to things we have seen before, but nothing is confirmed, and it feels like the show is holding that back on purpose. We also do not know how he got this icon, but it seems like he went to another realm to make it, which brings up more questions about how these icons work, and what it takes to get them. What really matters is what he does next, which is going back to the Shadow Dojo, and that is a big deal, because that place has always been tied to something bigger and darker, and now it is clearly important again. Res talks about his progress and his plan, and everything he does connects back to his master, who we still don't know who he is yet, but it is clear this is all leading to something big. There is also a part about Master Wu, because Res needs information about containing energy, which likely means he needs Wu for something specific, not just to defeat him, but to actually capture and use him for whatever is coming next. And that could end up being one of the most important parts of his whole plan. If Wu really is a key part of Res's plan, then that puts him in serious danger going into part 2, especially if Res's master has been planning this for a long time. Everything is connected together, that there will be some kind of big ritual. The fact that the ninja team is fully together and even extended in part 1 could mean part 2 will be very big and might even introduce Res's master at the end, that they need the whole team to stop their plan. Looking ahead, this could go in a few directions, because season 4 part 2 could mainly focus on Res and the hunt for the remaining dragon icons, which seems likely, but the Imperium storyline is still active, so we could have multiple threads happening at once. There is also a chance that these storylines connect later on, instead of staying separate, which could lead to one big conflict instead of always separate, especially if Res's plan and the Imperium plan end up overlapping. If everything builds up at the same time, there is a chance things do not go well for the ninja. They might even lose at some point, not just for a short time, but in a way that changes everything going forward, and leads into something bigger. It could even lead to a situation where the ninja get separated again, or lose access to their powers at the worst possible moment, which could make part 2 feel very different compared to part 1. The ending was good since it ended with a cliffhanger, but not as big as in every part 2. All of these ends are leading to one direction, which Dragon's Rising is clearly about. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.